Hey guys, so today's video is about how to inverse a 2 by 2 matrix. So doing it in Word, perhaps, although I have done this preparation, it might not be that comfortable and convenient. So actually I'm going to use the board here. So when you have a matrix, let's say A, that is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Its inverse, A minus 1, will be 1 over its determinant of A times, if we call this matrix A, B, C, and D, it will be D minus B minus C and A. So in this case, it will be 1 over its determinant will be AD minus BC, and D minus B minus C and A. And in this case, it will be 1 over 4 minus 6, and D is 4 here, minus B will be just minus 2, minus 3, and 1. So the answer will be -2, 1, 3 over 2, and minus 1 over 2. So this is how you inverse a 2 by 2 matrix. And that's about today's video, and next video will be about how to how to inverse a 3 by 3 matrix. And hope you enjoyed this video and find it helpful, and I will see you guys next time. Okay, anyways, after telling you how to inverse those 2 by 2 matrix, so the 6 matrix here will be extremely easy for you guys, right? Although I didn't find a bracket here, but these numbers might stand for other things, and that's what will be about today's true topic, as how you make a Green Ninja War team in Naruto Online. Okay, so it actually varies. So it basically depends on firstly what type of players you are. You are big spenders, you are spenders, or you are free to play. The team will vary when you are different kind of players. So as you guys can see here, we have 3 teams, and 3 from our sides. Let's perhaps mark it blue. and we have the opponents, and we will mark it red. And some people might thinking about, oh, why you not doing a Green Ninja War video, and it will just perhaps explain better. The situation in my server is that I am pretty much have much more higher battle power than anybody else, and I have almost never had a good Green Ninja War fight. So I have never encountered a strong enough opponents that is actually worth to recording. And also my team is really compatible, and although my group in the server is the second strongest, so when we are facing the best group in our server, we put our group pretty much rules. But since they know I will be appear in battlefield 10 every time, and they basically just give up in that battlefields, and the fights that I am having is mostly not worth to recording. But to be honest, my in my server, lots of high battle power players stacked together, and actually if they can form a very compatible team and with the summon, they perhaps have a chance to defeat me, but they are not going to try that. Mostly it is still because people do not understand this game well enough. They perhaps do not know a very good strategy, but that's today's video is about. Today's video is about how to form the Green Ninja War team that is the most suitable for you. So we will divide it into parts. So the first part is if you are a very credit spenders, although if you are a very credit spenders, you pretty much will not face any challenge during the Green Ninja War. But still, let's cover that. So case 1. The key about the Green Ninja War will be if you are in your team and your team has a very high power. So a very good idea is to use that high power as the core of your lineup, and the ninja you run by is surrounded by him. So he will have the damage ninjas and barrier ninjas, and the other players might just use the ninjas that can actually support him. So if you are big spenders, you basically will have perhaps a super rare such as Susanoo Itachi, oh that's a hyper rare, or Susanoo Sasuke, right? So if you are having a Susanoo Itachi, you basically will put this ninja here, the position 1. And whether it's Susanoo Itachi or Susanoo Sasuke, you put it in position 1, and this will ensure you to have a very first action during every single round. At the beginning of every single round. Susanoo Itachi will be immune to debuffs. Susanoo Sasuke, if you're running with a lightning wing, then he will be able to, if he kill any units in the field, the lightning wing can help him to refresh the mystery cooldown, and he will be able to cast it again. But so this is his position 1. And second position. In this point of the game, we are at the let's say the 5 cage treasure stage. So barrier is very important, and if you are a big spender, your total initiative will mostly be higher than the opponents and become the highest among your field. So second position, you can consider to having a barrier ninja here, but also you might want to be kind of play it in an insurance way so that your barrier ninja won't be line 1, row 1, and they will be perhaps attacked by the opponents. So another option is to put your Ming here. And this will be your position 2. And position 3 and 4, if you want to play it very aggressively, so anyways, firstly put a barrier ninja. Let's say perhaps if you are running Susanoo Sasuke or Susanoo Itachi, Denzo will be very useful, since he can have a buff for lightning and fire, and this might both boost Susanoo Sasuke and Susanoo Itachi, since they are lightning and fire attributes. Position 1, position 3, and since you are perhaps the highest power in your server, your Denzo will or your barrier ninja will 100% having the barrier for this whole battle, and this is a huge advantage during a Great Ninja War. And position 4, there are several options, but basically, if you are running Susanoo Itachi, you can have the control at the very beginning of the fight. But if you are running a Susanoo Sasuke, perhaps you might want to thinking about Iruka, so he can have an interruption, and having buffs for all your battlefields, for all your units in your team, or perhaps Tsunade, so that you can carry, since she will heal everybody in the field, and all the other options that perhaps can help the combo, and etc. And this is your position 4. And the second case will be if you are a spender, and in this case you don't have a super rare or hyper rare like Susanoo Sasuke or Susanoo Itachi, but before that, your teammates. So if you're a big spender, your teammates, they actually can do something for you. It is not because you are a very strong player, so no matter who will be your teammates, what they do won't be like whatever they do, they won't be helpful. It's not that case. They basically can have lots of ninjas that can support you, or perhaps at least giving more shield to your ninjas, and all of those will be helpful. And also there's one rule that is really a principle during the Green Ninja War, is that in your team there should be at least one passive barrier caster and a manual barrier caster. So think about this way: if your opponents have a manual barrier, and let's say a very regular Gara, and your Denzo helps the team and build up the barrier, and every round he can even chaos one unit randomly. But think about this way: if your opponents have a Gara, and at the very first round the Gara cast his barrier, and your Denzon barrier just gone. It's not about initiative and stuff. It is just because your opponents have a Gara, and perhaps you didn't bring a ninja that can interrupt, or perhaps you didn't bring a ninja that can acupuncture, and that Gara just cast the barrier, and all the advantage your team has disappear. So you don't want this to happen. So what your teammates can do is to bring a manual barrier. And in this case, if you are running a Susanoo Sasuke or Susanoo Itachi, what your teammates can also do is this manual barrier perhaps is Hashirama at the best perfect case, since all the Konoha ninja will be buffed after this barrier cast out. And another thing that is worth noting is that if the opponents do not have a manual barrier, for example Gara, that will substitute your big spenders barrier like the Denzo, you can just put your Hashirama here doing nothing. Do not substitute the Denzo's barrier, since that can cause chaos and etc. Putting him here as like an insurance, you might not need to use him or any other thing. The advantage is anyway your side. And if not, put any barrier, any manual barrier and that will be helpful, like Gara, what other ninjas can use a manual barrier? Haku, even Anko, whatever, etc. etc. But prepare one here, so that if your opponents are having the manual barrier to substitute yours, you can substitute it back. And your teammates can also have some ninjas that generate a shield for you. So for instance, a Mifune that can buff your Susanoo Sasuke, or let's say a Killer Bee that can make you Susanoo Itachi standard attack twice, and some healer that can make your teammate themselves more sustainable. And that is case 1. So I just noticed that this video will be incredibly long, since there are so many cases to explain for, and if you are not patient, perhaps just jump into the part that you are interested in. So if you are a spender, you might the most the easiest thing that is to run is this stage is the cursed hidden team. Cursed hidden team. So, like I said, you might want to killer bee, cursed hidden, and of course, you might want your cursed hidden be position 1. And a Denso will be always good to have a barrier, but again, now here we are thinking about spenders, so there is a probability that the opponents will have higher initiator than you and you don't have the barrier. But so what is the plan is that your team choose one player that has the highest power and highest initiative and only let him using the Denso. So you are trying to get this passive barrier, but you do not put 3 Denso in your team. And if there is a higher power in your opponents, your team are fucked up. I mean, you prepare 3 Denso and at last your team don't have the barrier. Then what is the point to put 3 Denso in? So Denso, the highest, the strongest person in your team. And lightning mean, so you can use the root of warriors. And what about your teammates? So lot of things that your teammate can do. And if you're a spender, if you having a Tsunade, that will always be helpful. Let's say Tsunade Hokage will always be helpful. So your teammates, what can your teammates run in this case? So you are trying to produce a team that can help the battle as much as possible. So your teammates can have Conan that buffs Cursed Hidden, and your teammates can have a Fire Main that generate the shell for the high strength player in your team. And your teammates can have a Killer Bee. If your teammate has Killer Bee, then yourself do not need to use that Killer Bee to perhaps you have a better ninja to use. And as always, a manual barrier to be an insurance. And also, if you are running a Cursed Hidden team, if you are running a Cursed Hidden team, at least 2 Cursed Hidden should be prepared. So think about it. The first round, two Curse of Hidden will tag 6 opponents, and the standard tag will become very powerful. And of course, a Mifune should be prepared too, so that this Mifune can buff all the Curse Hidden in your field. And that's case 2. So when you are still perhaps a medium spender. Case 3, if you are a little spender or free to player. So firstly, I do not think little spender or free to players will become very, very important to the fight itself, since if your opponents are heavy spenders and have very strong opponents, you guys won't change much. But if your opponents do not have very strong players, then the key of winning or losing between these two groups will be highly dependent on you guys. And in this case, little spenders or free-to-players perhaps just form a 3-man team themselves as a backup, and there isn't core in your team. So the only thing you want is to make your team as compatible as possible. So here are some strategy. Firstly, do not use very tanky lineups. If you are using a Hinata or Kankuro, I don't think that is a good idea. So although you are making yourself very tanky, you still do not have good damage. You're standing there as long as possible. The result is still losing the war and losing this fight. What you are trying to do is to make your team as disgusting as possible. So for example, having Neji at the first position, so that you can acupuncture at the very beginning of the fight. And several menu barrier ninja can be prepared, such as Gaara, or Sasuke, and etc. Depending on which main attribute your 3-man team wanna run for. And there's a very important thing is that there are 2 means that are extremely important. Firstly, number 1 is Fire Mean. That shield can make your whole team immune, and it will be always important that if the opponents, they cannot control you. And secondly, a windmate will be very important. Why? Because you can blow away your opponent's immunity, and then ninjas like Neji will be very useful. And a very unique tip is that by any chance, if your friends or you have the Orochimaru Konoha Trader 1, use him. Why? Because the second round he can instantly summon Hashirama, and Hashirama summon will release the barrier. That barrier is the same as the Hashirama himself, and it will provide 40% ninjas and attack for all the Konoha ninjas. And what you are having, the team you are having, is perhaps all Konoha ninjas, and that will absolutely help you and the team. So that's it about today's video. Today's video is really about the Great Ninja War. By having different stages of the players, you can all having the having fun in the Great Ninja War. And most importantly, try to attend the Great Ninja War if it is possible. Why? Perhaps you are going to say, oh, I am not a very high power player, and no matter how frequently I'm going to attend this Great Ninja War, perhaps my leader won't give me a pack. And what is the point that I'm going to attend this Great Ninja War? So the Great Ninja War will give you a lot of points. If you check in here, the later version of the Chinese server or our server, you can redeem a lot of things by attending Great Ninja War. So the group shop will be updated, and see this high level refined room here, 420, you can redeem one. And this one is the charm pack. So with 1.4k, you will be able to redeem this charm pack. And this stone will always be useful later as well. And this one is the experiment pixel that can be used to break through the ninjas. So everything in this group shop later will be quite useful, and as later version comes out, the point you are gaining can help you redeem more and more ninjas as the version goes on. So also this arena shop will be helpful as well. As you guys can see, the cave key and the medium threads can be redeemed and all the other things. So currently, indeed, our server is kind of boring, but trying to stack these resources and trying to entertain yourself, trying to attend as much event as possible to stack your resources, and after the updated version released, you will be able to have more advantage than the others. And last thing is that here we need to congrats to Samuel that he is having the first 5-star Minato Force Hokage version in the whole Chinese server among those 1,500 servers. The Minato Force Hokage in Chinese server is extremely hard to obtain. Not like here, if we are just spending several ingots, we were able to have him 80 frags. In Chinese server, it is not acting like that way. You will need to recharge in the first position when the server opens, and the only way to obtain him is when they held events. You are the guy that spent the most in that particular event, and that will gives you 80 frags, and that's how he obtained his Minato. So congratulations to him, and that's it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.